I'm Kelsey,
And I'm Lindsay.
and this is What Makes You Fangirl, the podcast where we deep dive into all things One Direction and unpack the moments that turned us into lifelong fangirls.
Throughout the series, we're following One Direction from their X Factor beginnings to global superstardom, unpacking albums, inside jokes, and the chaos that made history in a nostalgic rewind for anyone who's ever loved something a little too much.
Before we dive in, make sure you like, follow, and subscribe to the podcast wherever you're listening right now so you never miss an episode. You can also find us on Instagram at What Makes You Fangirl and on TikTok at WMYF Podcast for clips, updates, and bonus content.
Last episode, we talked about the moment that changed everything, Zayn leaving One Direction in the middle of the On the Road Again tour.
It was shocking, it was emotional, and it left a lot of unanswered questions. And this week, we're getting into what happened after the fallout, the tension, and the moments that made it clear that things were never going back to normal.
From fan reactions to the Zouis Twitter fight to what we know now was happening behind the scenes, this is really the actual beginning of the end.
Emotional, yes. But before we get into that, let's kick things off in a more lighthearted way with our favorite segment, What Makes You Fangirl This Week.
As always, this is where we fangirl about our current obsessions, small or big. Think of it as a little warm-up before we dive back into One Direction's history. So, Kelsey, what's making you fangirl this week?
The fact that we're both going to meet Joshua Bassett next month.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
doing a signing for his new book, The Rookie. Is it The Rookie or is it just Rookie?
I think it's just Rookie.
Is it Rookie? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a TV show called The Rookie. That's why my brain thinks that. So he's doing a signing for that, and we both got tickets, which is super exciting. We both love Joshua Bassett
Yeah.
immensely.
King.
Love that man.
I'm like, that book is going to be
Yeah.
so emotional.
Oh,
just
yeah.
knowing like what he's been through
Oh, yeah.
and having his like direct, because obviously there's so much like speculation around certain parts of his
Mhm.
life, from Olivia Rodrigo, Sabrina Carpenter,
Yep.
Triangle, to, you know, his, everyone can have their own perspective on religion, but as far as like his whole like coming to faith thing, like what that was about, like there was a lot of talk about him, and
Mhm.
having him directly confirm or deny or just
All
like
of those
share his
things.
specific thoughts is
Mhm.
going to be crazy.
Yeah. it's
But
gonna be
also,
super
I
interesting
feel
for
like
sure.
it'll be interesting,
Oh, yeah.
insightful, emotional.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think you sent me that clip of him, love the
Yeah, like reading the
audiobook.
intro or
Yeah.
something. Oh my God.
Yeah.
The
that
way it
was-
starts with him being like, "Mom, I think I'm dying."
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm not prepared to read this book. I'm not prepared to meet him either.
Yeah,
but
that too. Plus, it will be on the book. It will be. I feel like it's cool that it sounds like it's a mix of like memoirs and also
yeah.
like poems. Like I feel
Yeah.
like that'll be a really interesting read with like
Yeah, I'm
the
excited
mix
about
of
it.
styles in there.
Yeah. And it's like not something you and I typically read either. So it'll be nice
Yeah.
to be able to like step outside of the,
Yeah,
you know,
I feel like I pretty
like
much
fantasy
primarily
and
read
fiction world.
fantasy fiction.
Yeah.
On occasion, I'll step out like for something like this. I read Jeanette McCurdy's book like when
Uh-huh.
it came out, the one that was like, I wish my mom died or something like that,
Yeah.
which was actually, it was really good too. So I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
But yeah, on like meeting him, we're both going to the like Barnes and Noble events. I think mine's first. I'm scared.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Mine's the week before my birthday, which is very slay.
Right. Yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm curious how it's gonna like work just as an event, because I know
Mm-hmm.
I think the books are pre-signed. Like he did it, but I think they're
Yeah.
like pre-signed. So I think they hand them out, and then I feel like there's gonna be like a Q&A or something, and then
Yeah.
maybe it's like a meet and greet after, because
Yeah,
it
I
does
think
say
so.
it says like you'll meet him.
Yeah. And there'll be like the event people will take photos
Yeah.
off your
Yeah.
device, whatever.
So like
I'm very
what?
scared. I'm going alone.
Me too.
But mine's
So.
3 hours away.
Yeah. You should take a day off and fly here and come to mine.
That's very true. You think they'll let me in with my LA ticket?
Like, ooh, I didn't realize I bought the wrong city. What? Yeah, no, I'm a little bit scared. I have met him before, but it was very brief. It was at the stage door when he did Little Shop of Horrors on Broadway.
Mhm.
And even that, I like did not know what to say to him.
Yeah.
Like he signed my playbill and I was like, thank you. And then I think I said like, you were amazing, probably something super annoying and basic. That I also went to alone. But when I was like standing outside, I was chatting with the girl next to me, and
Yeah.
she was very talkative, and she talked to him, and I was just there kind of like, ha 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 ha, laughing along. But I didn't say that much. So I'm
Yeah.
like, if this is similar in that, or like if it's not similar and I, go up to him one-on-one for a photo, like what do you say? What do you say to
I
him?
know. Do we invite him on the pod?
Maybe that's the way to go. Be like, hey, we talked about your book on our podcast, and we're planning to dedicate at least a whole episode to you.
Yeah.
Maybe even to your book. Maybe we'll do a book review episode.
Yeah.
Do you want to come on?
Yeah. I feel like he would do it.
I feel like he would take it seriously, but he'd have to have someone vet our podcast, which is fine.
Yeah.
And hopefully they deem it acceptable. But we've also never had a guest. I don't know if he's the one to work out the kinks with. I feel like we'd have to figure it out
Just
before.
start off with Joshua Bassett.
Iconic. Iconic of us in this hypothetical scenario.
Yeah.
I'm here for it. But yeah, no, we have, I don't know, like I have less than a month. You have like almost exactly a month to prepare for this. So we need to think about it.
Prepare.
Well, I guess, no, you won't have read it before unless you get like a different copy. Because I'm like, the day that mine is the day it comes out. So I don't think I physically could have read it in advance of this. And obviously you'll probably wait because you'll get the physical copy of this thing.
Yeah.
But theoretically, you could read it before and be like prepared.
Yeah. But I don't think that I'll do that.
Yeah.
So just because I don't want to, I mean, I would love to support him, but I don't need to buy it twice.
No, totally.
Yeah.
Already spent the $30 whatever on the physical copy and the ticket.
Yeah.
So, but I think it'll be cool to have like a physical signed copy from him. I will put it on my display shelf.
Yes, same. I'm very excited about that.
Anyway, I love you, Joshua Bassett. Excited for your book. Excited to cry, probably.
Come on the pod.
Come on the pod.
We love you.
We'd love to have you.
Anyways, what's making you fangirl
well,
this week?
Speaking of Joshua Bassett, Sabrina Carpenter. No.
Yeah.
But yes, okay, after, what is it, Sunday? After this weekend, we have to talk about Coachella. It's weekend one of Coachella when we're filming this.
Yeah.
Specifically, Sabchella. And we can talk about Beaverchella too. But first, Sabchella, my God, is all I can say.
Literally insane.
I should have watched her full set because they live streamed them. It's just that I didn't expect to watch it because of the time zones. And it's, 3 hours behind me. But I was up anyway because I didn't feel well. So I should have just watched it. But I was watching it the next morning, like clips and all the performances. And she is just genuinely one of the best performers of this era.
Literally insane performer. Incredible.
The theatricality, the sets, not to mention her obvious incredible singing talent, but like the way that she like had a whole Hollywood production happening with the cars, and the intro was so cute where she was like walking and stepping on the stars and they would like light up into like house tour. Iconic. Literally
very well thought out and very well planned. So good.
Insane sets with the Sabrina Wood like sign, the like steps that were very, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a 60s, 70s like club vibe.
Yeah.
Then there was like the nightlife with like the neon signs. There was the ending with tears when there was literally a fountain. She was like coming. There was the car and her chair raised, and then there was a fountain. And I was like, what is happening?
So much happening.
Special guest. She had Will Ferrell.
What's
her name? Susan Sarandon? Her friend, Corey Feldman. Not Feldman. That's not the word. Is that his last name?
I don't know.
Corey something. Corey F. His last name starts with F, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, you get it. Lots of appearances, but also not in the way you'd expect. Like, I feel like at Coachella, you expect people to have guest, like, features on, like, songs. And she totally could have done that.
Yeah.
But all of her special guests were actors, which I thought was so fun.
Yeah. Different than what everyone else does.
Yeah. And it was insane. It was probably one of the best shows I've ever, not that I was physically there to witness it, but, like, ever seen
clips
produced. And also, not to, like, I know this podcast is about One Direction, and they're still my number one, but I must say, I think my FOMO was worse for this than it was for Harry.
Yeah.
Because, like, Harry is great, obviously, but he didn't do anything particularly. I mean, he had, like, Shania Twain, and he had, like, his fun little outfits, and it's fun to watch him run around and do fun dance moves and just pop off king. But that's just like a normal Harry show, and I've seen that many, many, many times. Not that I'm saying the experience is dulled, but I just think Sabrina's production was once in a lifetime
Oh, yeah.
level insane. And yeah, I had FOMO. I had true FOMO
Oh, yeah.
from that. And then not only Sabrina, but Justin Bieber played last night, and his set very different from Sabrina.
Yeah.
There's actually a lot of people fighting on Twitter right now. This morning I opened my like timeline, and it was all people fighting about like, and money's a whole different part of it.
Yeah.
But people are saying Justin is the highest paid Coachella performer they've ever had, and all he did was like look at YouTube videos on his computer and like walk around the stage in like a ratty hoodie. But like at the same time, I think that's just they bring different vibes. I don't think either is like necessarily bad. Also, I mean, on the money, it is what it is, but and maybe there's a commentary on women versus men, and I'm sure that's a problem that we need to talk about. But I will say Justin has been around longer, and it's kind of a miracle that he even showed up.
Yeah.
So I do think he wouldn't have showed up unless they were paying him really well.
Yeah.
Not to say Sabrina also shouldn't be paid well, but just in terms of career, like the level of performance that Sabrina was giving, I mean, I don't think anyone has given that in a while, but Justin used to have productions like that, like he did on his tours back in like 2013, and that's kind of like where Sabrina is. Obviously, Sabrina's career, I feel like, has taken longer than Justin's, and she has been around for a while, but Justin really has been at his level of stardom for over 15 years now.
Yeah, a very long time.
So he is kind of legend status, and it makes sense that he would be paid a little bit more.
Yeah.
And it's hard to compare their performances because I think it's just that they bring different things to the vibe. Like Sabrina wants to bring the Broadway level theatricality, and she can. And Justin's like over that era. Like he has done that, and he's past it. It's now for him, it's very much like stripped back about the music. And he's older, and he probably doesn't want to like be doing all of that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying like it's an excuse for men to be mediocre, but I think that they bring different things to the table.
Yeah.
And his also looked really, I actually put that, because I was up late again, and I actually did put that one on last night, but I did fall asleep during it. Listen, he started with like all swag songs, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm more of a OG Bieber believer girl, so I miss the like My World, Believe eras. I'm less into the R&B Bieber of like swag.
Yeah.
But the fact that he did, like, the fact that he even acknowledged the old songs though and did sing them is really amazing. Like he did Favorite Girl, That Should Be Me, Never Say Never. These are iconic hits, and probably worth going to Coachella just to hear those three.
Oh yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. So, and this was just weekend one. Maybe weekend two will bring something different. Who even knows?
Yeah.
But
it's just a start.
Lots going on at Coachella. Cat's Eye.
Yeah.
They have a whole thing. We won't get into that now because I don't know how I feel about them. Like, I have been writing for Cat's Eye, not like super fan status, but since the Dream Academy show, I've been like, yes, I support this idea of a global girl group. I'm here for it. Manon aside, there's a whole thing with Manon being on hiatus. I don't even know how to get into that right now. But in terms of their music, I think that they're rage baiting us. Like, with their recent singles, Gnarly, Internet Girl, Pinky Up. I get that Gnarly worked, and I like Gnarly. I think it's fun. But just because you have one song that does well like that doesn't mean your entire discography moving forward should be like that. Especially when these girls literally went through a show that proves how good they are at singing and dancing, and you're not going to highlight their incredible voices.
Literally.
Like, I think they're rage baiting.
I think Gnarly did well because of the meme of it all. And like,
but not every
there's
song
never
can
really
be a meme.
been something. That's why it did well. None of them are going to do as well as Gnarly did.
Yeah. So I'm like, can we just like actually get back to like, these girls are so talented. They could sing really incredible songs, and yet they look like cartoon characters doing memes.
Yeah.
So I don't know how I feel about it. I still support them, but I really just want their management team to like really think about the vision and what
Yeah.
it should be moving forward. Also, none of them, like on Pinky Up, none of them are credited in like, and I'm not saying every band has to write their
Yeah.
own songs, but like, I know that Lara is like a producer and I know that they
Yeah.
have ideas. So I'm like, can you not like at least let them contribute and maybe
Yeah.
shape their own vision? But I know that I guess I have like a One Direction lens where they kind of grew into creative control and like really
Yeah.
were themselves. Whereas like this is a Hybe production and that's like
Yeah.
very produced. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But I feel like they could be something really great and they're not allowing them to be.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Like, no, absolutely.
I
That's,
agree.
yeah.
I did like when they sang Golden with the voices
Yeah,
of
that was
Huntrix
really good.
though,
Yep.
because I like K-pop Demon Hunters. But and that they sounded amazing on that because guess what? They were singing really well.
Yeah.
Not just their little pinky up with the like game noises in the background.
Yeah. Very
can't.
interesting.
Anyway, that's Coachella, weekend 2, coming soon, so we will see. But Sabrina's performance blew
Should I show
everyone
up
out of the water.
to weekend 2 and show my ID and be like, I'm related.
Yes.
Let me in.
Yes. Anyway, that's Coachella. Much more in store. Excited to see if Sabrina, maybe she'll copy and paste the same show. Maybe there will be slight differences. I guess we will see.
Yeah.
But anyway, that is that on current happenings. I mean, there's much more we could talk about, but let's move on. So, last time we left off with March 25th, 2015, Zayn officially leaving One Direction, and almost immediately everything changes.
Yeah, and I don't think there's any way to overstate how big the reaction was. This wasn't just fans being sad. This was like a full internet-wide meltdown.
Yes, Twitter completely exploded, Tumblr exploded, Instagram, YouTube, everywhere. It was trending worldwide within minutes, and it stayed that way for days.
Yeah, and it wasn't just grief. It was chaos. People were confused. People were in denial. People were angry. And a lot of fans immediately started looking for someone to blame.
Yeah, some people blamed management, saying they overworked the band. Some people blamed the other boys. Some people blamed his fiance, Harry Edwards. Everyone had a different theory.
Yeah, and there were petitions going around, bring Zayn back, don't let One Direction end. Like, people were genuinely thought this could be reversed if they were loud enough.
Which makes sense because up until this point, One Direction felt kind of invincible.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no matter what happened, they would keep going.
Exactly. And they had survived scandals, rumors, exhaustion, insane schedules. So this was the first time where it was like, oh, this might not actually last forever.
Yeah, and the media picked up on that shift immediately. The narrative changed from biggest band in the world to is this the beginning of the end?
Which is such a dramatic shift, but also not wrong looking back.
Right, because even though the band did keep going, the illusion had kind of been broken.
Yeah, and it went from this fantasy of 5 best friends living their dream to something that felt a lot more real and a lot more complicated.
Yes, it did.
So while all of this is happening online, the band is still on tour and they don't stop.
Which is so wild.
Yeah.
Like, they had no break, no reset. They just kept performing, but as a 4-piece.
And at first, it really feels like they're figuring it out in real time because Zayn's parts obviously don't just disappear. Someone has to cover them.
Yeah, so you see Harry and Liam taking on a lot of his vocals, Niall stepping in more too. And over time, that reshuffling does become more natural.
But early on, you can hear the difference. There are certain high notes that Zayn used to hit that just aren't quite landing the same way.
Yeah, especially in songs like You and I or Story of My Life, those big sustained notes. Liam covers most of these, and at first it is a little bit shaky.
Yeah, but as the tour goes on, they adjust. They change arrangements slightly, they redistribute parts, and it starts to feel more solid.
And fans are analyzing everything, every performance, every glance, every little interaction.
And the tone of the show shifts. It's still massive, still sold out, but it feels more emotional than chaotic now.
Yeah, there's this underlying awareness, like everyone in the stadium knows something like big just happened and continues to happen and is missing.
Yep, and I think the fandom responds to that, not by pulling away, but by leaning in harder.
Definitely. This is when fans become really protective, not just of the band, but of the idea of One Direction continuing.
And the best example of that is the No Control project.
For context, No Control is a fan favorite song off of their album 4, but it was never an official single, no music video, no promo push, nothing.
And fans were like, okay, this is not going to work for us. So they organized, and I mean organized. This was a full global campaign.
Yeah, they picked a date, which was May 1st, 2015, which became known as No Control Day, and fans all over the world mass requested the song on radio stations.
There were graphics, time zone schedules, templates for how to request songs, Twitter, Tumblr, group chats, everything was coordinated.
And the craziest part is it worked. The song started getting real radio play. It charted on iTunes in multiple countries.
Some stations even added it to their rotation just because the demand was so high.
Which is insane when you think about it, because this wasn't the label pushing it. This was entirely fan-driven.
Yep, and the timing of it is really important. This is happening right after Zayn leaves, when everything feels unstable.
Yeah, it's like the fandom was saying, we're not letting this fall apart. It was less about the song itself and more about proving that the band still had power, that the fandom was still behind them.
And then, when things already feel unstable, we get one of the most chaotic moments of this entire era, the Zouis Twitter fight.
Oh yeah, we do.
Which still feels insane to say, because up until this point, the idea that members of One Direction would publicly argue was unheard of.
And what's important is this doesn't come out of nowhere. There is a build-up to this.
Yeah, so go back to late March 2015. Zayn has just left the band, saying he wants to be a normal 22-year-old. Yeah, quote. And then literally days later, he's photographed in a studio with Naughty Boy, an English DJ, songwriter, and record producer.
Which immediately confuses people because it's like, okay, you are still making music. It was a bit contradictory, at least from our perspective. Like, in retrospect, it makes sense, but we were just so confused because we were blindsided. And then he was like, I want to be normal. And then he was like, but actually, I'm in the studio. And Louis clearly wasn't happy about how all of this was being handled, especially publicly.
Oh yeah, and on March 30th, Louis tweets directly at Naughty Boy, calling him out, saying he's being inconsiderate to the fans and telling him to grow up.
And he follows that up with tweets like, always have struggled to bite my tongue, which feels very telling. So there's already tension. It's not explosive yet, but it's there.
Then a few days later, there's another moment. An article comes out claiming that Zayn and Naughty Boy track was actually a rejected One Direction song. And Louis responds to that too, tweeting, "Is that an April Fool?" So he clearly paying attention and not loving what's being put out there.
Yes. And then things are quiet for a bit until May rolls around, May 6th, 2015. And this is where everything blows up.
Naughty Boy posts a photo with Zayn and captions it, "Replace this," which people took as a jab at One Direction, and Zayn retweets it.
So Louis, king that he is, does respond. And this is where it starts to get more direct. He tweets, "Remember when you were 12 and you used to think those Mac filters for your pictures were cool? Haha. Some people still do. Ha."
And fans immediately clock that he's talking about Naughty Boy, and the Naughty Boy replies, "And some people can't even sing, but who's complaining when there's autotune, eh?"
Which is a direct hit at Louis. So Louis fires back, "Jesus, forgot you were such an in-demand producer. How does it feel to be writing on the back of someone else's career?"
And Naughty Boy doubles down, saying, "Yeah, how does it feel, mate? You've been doing that for the last 5 years. I've got Emily Sandé and Sam Smith on my CV."
And then Louis responds, "Good for you. Well done. I think we've done all right in terms of sales, and I've happened to write on most. Keep trying."
So at this point, it's already messy, and Zayn chimes in. This is the moment that really shifts everything, because this one hurt to read.
Yeah, this one was a real gut punch. So Zayn tweets directly at Louis, and he says, "Remember when you had a life and stopped making comments about mine?" Which is brutal.
Yeah, because now it's not just Louis and Naughty Boy, it's Zayn and Louis publicly.
And fans are watching this happen in real time, refreshing Twitter, screenshotting everything. It was instant chaos up until this point. Even with Zayn leaving, the narrative was still that, like, oh, they're good, they're still friends.
And this completely cracks that after that, things kind of cool off a bit. Zayn tweets later saying he doesn't know why he's being attacked and that he loves his fans, but the damage is already done.
Yeah. And it doesn't fully end there either. A few days later, Louis is still kind of poking at it, tweeting things like roar, ha ha ha, after an interview where Naughty Boy compared himself to a sleeping lion.
And then by July, things take another turn. Zayn and Naughty Boy actually fall out publicly too.
Yeah, Zayn tweets things like, stop pretending we're friends. So now even that partnership is breaking down, which just adds to the overall mess of this era.
Yep. And then at the end of July, Zayn announces he's signed a solo deal and is making his own music, which kind of confirms what a lot of fans had already started to suspect.
But going back to that initial fight, that was the moment where everything shifted. It turned something that felt like a clean break into something that felt messy and emotional. You could tell there were real feelings behind those tweets.
Yeah, which makes sense. They had spent 5 years together. Of course, it wasn't going to be simple, but seeing it play out like that in real time was a lot.
Yeah, and I think for fans, that's when it really hit that this wasn't just like a career move. It was something was broken.
And I think what makes this era even more interesting is looking at it in hindsight, because at the time, everything felt sudden.
Yeah. But looking back now, it's a lot easier to see that this had been building for a while. The burnout alone, 5 nonstop albums, tours, promo, that's not sustainable.
Yeah, and we've actually heard more about that in recent years. Niall recently shared that by this point, they kind of knew because they weren't planning another album.
Yeah, which is huge because that means internally there was already some awareness that things were winding down.
But at the same time, not everyone experienced it the same way. Louis has talked about feeling completely blindsided by Zayn leaving.
Yeah, in his Diary of a CEO interview, he shared that the night before Zayn left, everything felt totally normal. Like they were together, they said goodnight like usual, and then the next morning he just wasn't there.
And Louis found out basically at the same time as everyone else, which is kind of wild considering how close they were.
In the interview, Louis said, quote, I thought we had a relationship where he could have had that conversation with me. In reflection, and he hasn't told me this, we'll see when I chat to him about it, but I think if he told me, I would have tried to tell him to stay. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why he didn't, because he knew I was always very opinionated.
Yeah, and he described it as losing a best friend, not just a bandmate. He said that he was absolutely crushed and that it made him immediately think, is this the beginning of the end of the band?
Which, in hindsight, it was.
Yep. So you've got this mix of things happening. On one hand, there's this quiet awareness that the band might not last forever. And on the other, there's still moments that feel really sudden and personal, like Zayn leaving the way that he did.
Yeah. And then there's the industry side of it. This is usually around the time when artists and groups start having conversations about what comes next. There were also rumors that Harry, for example, wasn't planning to re-sign long-term with the band, and he had early conversations about going solo.
Which again is very normal for a group at this level, but as fans, we weren't seeing any of that, nor were we prepared for it.
Yeah, we just saw the surface, which is why to us everything felt so abrupt in real time.
Exactly. So while it felt like everything changed overnight, in reality, a lot of this was already in motion, which doesn't make it hurt less, but it does make it make more sense.
Yeah. And another reason, why we didn't know this was really unfolding was because as all of this is happening, fan reactions, tension, everything, the tour is still going. They're still working.
Yeah. And it runs all the way through October 2015, still selling out stadiums, still massively successful.
Which is kind of surreal because on paper, nothing has changed. But emotionally, it's a completely different experience.
And there's this quiet understanding that something has shifted permanently. And looking back, what's really wild is that this ends up being their last tour ever.
And no one knew that at the time. They're just going from show to show, city to city, same as they always have.
Yeah. Did you get to go to this tour?
Yeah, let's talk about it. Enough about the emotional side. Let's talk about us getting to see One Direction. So yes, I did go. I went to OTRA Santa Clara because, again, similar to where we are, they did not want to come to Colorado. So I had to travel. Had to. It was required, obviously. So I went with my friend Lauren again. Shout out, Queen. And I can't remember if we chose that one for a specific reason, but I know we both have California history. Like, we
Mhm.
both live there, and we have connections there. And this was also the summer before our senior year of high school, so we used
Mhm.
the trip to tour some colleges in, like, the Bay Area, San Francisco as well. But also, like, I feel like neither of us was really actually focused on that because this was, like,
Yeah.
a One Direction trip to us, but our parents were like, "No, let's go see University of San Francisco."
You're like, "I really don't
I was like,
care."
"I really don't care." Also, that school is weird, so I digress. Doesn't matter. But the show that I went to was at Levi Stadium, and I remember being, like, completely, like, blown away by the size of it. Like, I had seen them in a stadium before, but this one just felt, I think it is bigger. This one felt, like,
Mhm.
huge, and we stayed at the hotel that was, like, right by the stadium for, like, convenience sake, and I remember the hotel had gone all out as well because obviously everyone was there for One Direction, and, like, they had cardboard cutouts in the lobby, they were playing their music, and they had, like, signage everywhere that was, like, related to One Direction. I remember by the pool outside, there was a sign that was like, "Stay hydrated, like, One Direction wants you to drink water," and it was, like, on their water thing. It was good vibes. And Icona Pop was the opening act, which I remember thinking was, like, kind of weird because,
Yeah.
like, why? That didn't seem like a matching vibe, especially
Yeah.
because, like, we came from such a high of, like, Five Sauce and
5
One
Sauce,
Direction
yeah.
that now it was like, "Oh, Icona Pop and One Direction." But it was still fun. It was the peak of, like, their song, I Love It,
Mhm.
so great song. We luckily had floor seats that were, like, really close to the main stage, so I got to experience One Direction up close again, which is also amazing, obviously. You could definitely feel the shift without Zayn. Like, by the time they hit the
Mhm.
US, it had been a few months, so they were definitely, like, much more settled. But, as fans, it was, like, weird to see them after having
Yep.
seen them previously with a fifth member, to see them just as four. I won't lie, I was really mad at Zayn at the time because of his, like, I was really mad about the line is
Yeah.
what I was mad about, was
Yeah.
him being like, "I wanna be normal," and then he was like, "Just kidding, I have a solo record deal," and that's what I was mad about, so I kinda was like, "Oh, I don't miss him, like, it's fine."
Yeah.
OT4 all the way, but, I was probably lying to myself a little bit, but
Oh, yeah.
Harry at this show wore the iconic gold boots, so shout out to those. And my friend and I, this is just a funny story. We also brought this, like, baby hand that you put on your finger, and we, like, were trying to decide if we could throw it on stage because we thought it would be funny if they saw it and
Yeah.
played with it, but we weren't sure if we could, like, throw that far because we were on the floor and we were pretty close, but, like, there's
That's
a couple
still, yeah, it's
rows, there's a
still
gap, like, then they're, like, on the stage. So I threw my chapstick as, like, a test to see if I could get anything up there, but we didn't commit and throw the baby hand. So
Oh.
we might still have it somewhere. I have footage of, like, little things. I'm, like, trying to film it, and then Lauren has, like, the baby hand going in front of the camera. So
That's
that's just,
really
like,
funny.
a good story. But it was a good show, all things considered, without Zayn. I had a good time, and yeah, it was fun, and I enjoyed staying at a hotel that was, like, fully dedicated to it as well since it was, like, right there.
But yeah,
Good times for me. Did you get to go?
I did. I went to OTRA San Diego, which was the first
Yeah.
show of the tour.
Is that the one where he
Pretty
fell?
sure. Yes. Watching that in real time was insane. He just disappeared. I was not on the floor. I was in, like, the first, like, raised seat area. But I remember I was like, thought I was recording. I wish I was actually recording, but I wasn't, because I would just, like, record and
Yeah.
look at what was happening in front of me, not on my phone. And he just, like, he went down. He went down hard. And everyone was just like, "Oh my God." Because then he laid there for a minute. He did lay there for a minute. And then it was the whole emotionally, I'm bruised. Like, physically, I'm fine. Emotionally, I'm
Yeah.
bruised thing.
Yeah.
And then he told everyone to delete the videos.
So, in respecting his wishes, we will insert a clip.
Yeah, exactly. But I went to that show. We had to drive. I think it's like a 4-hour drive from where I am. So not too terrible. But my dad and his at the time girlfriend, they were like, "Let's make a trip out of it." And so there was, like, it was also the same weekend as Comic-Con. Bad
Ooh,
idea
busy
for
weekend in San Diego.
Bad idea for San Diego.
I
Yeah.
actually remember that. I've always wanted to go to San Diego Comic-Con. Anyway,
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
I mean, I was there at the same time. So it was very much a weird mix of Comic-Con people and then
people dressed as
teenage-
superheroes and then teenage One Direction fans.
Yeah.
Honestly, the best of
Yeah.
both worlds.
It was so good. It was a great time. But there was no hotels available. So there was like a campground, and we have a camp trailer. So pulled the camp trailer down there and like stayed at this campground. But because we were pulling a trailer and traffic in Southern California is insane, like it was like getting close to like showtime, and we had like known this that we were like gonna leave late, so we got ready at home before. So then my dad drove through the drop-off line with this
With the
big ass
camper?
and everyone was like, what is happening? But we got there, and then I also like participated in the fan project
Ooh,
for
slay.
this. It was 2 different ones. I have them still. It was a Where Do Broken Hearts Go one, and it was like papers cut into hearts, and I don't even remember what they said.
They said, "Where do broken hearts go?"
Probably. It probably really did just say that. And then there was like a regular paper one. But I don't remember what I still have them, but I just don't remember what they say.
I'm trying to remember. I don't know if there were fan projects at the ones I went to. If there were, I'm sure I had a piece of paper, but
yeah, but I made 500 of each.
Committed
by
queen.
hand. I didn't print any of them. I wrote them all out.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I was committed. Because like there was this girl who like it was like Fan Projects California or whatever, like 1D Fan Projects for California, and we were mutuals on Twitter. So I was like, I'll help. And I did it all by hand, 500 of each.
That's by hand is crazy.
Yeah. And mind you, the Where Do Broken Hearts Go ones were cut into hearts.
Yeah, that's crazy of you.
Yeah. But I went with my friend Sienna, and it was her first concert ever.
Wow. What a good one to have as your first concert.
Yeah, it was super exciting. And then I later took her to Five Sauce as well. So that was exciting. And then we were camping. So there was also the excitement of like being in this like campground. It was like very bougie. It was not like rough camping. And there was like a fake lake that they like a man-made pond situation, and like
that you could swim in.
And yeah,
that is fun.
It was like a beachfront type thing.
I see people doing stuff like that, and I'm like, oh, that actually does look nice. Maybe I would enjoy camping. And then I do it, and I'm like, wait, this is terrible.
But I also think like camping after a One Direction concert is insane.
Yeah. That would be okay. Actually, you know what? When Louis did his forgetting the name of his festival,
the Away From Home festival.
Away From Home. I knew it started with an A, and all I could hear in my head was All Those Voices, which was his movie.
Yeah.
I digress. Away From Home, when it was in New York last year, I didn't go, and probably for the best, but it actually genuinely like looked like it would have been fun because people like camped. And I feel like if I'm gonna camp, I might as well do it in a place that's like primarily all Louis fans, and then listen to Louis. Like that would be an environment in which I think I could do it because it would be fun. But I wouldn't have wanted to do it like without you. Like you would have had to come. Yeah,
and it was not feasible.
Yeah, no. I mean, it wasn't even very feasible for me, and I
like we would have had to like rent a car.
Yep.
And I would have had to drive.
Yeah.
You haven't driven.
Because I don't do that anymore.
But I think they started San Diego. San Diego was the first show. And Drag Me Down had just come out.
Yeah, because what day was that?
July 8th, I think, is the day that show was on.
Drag Me Down.
Or it came out right after. I don't remember.
Drag Me Down came out at the end of July. So I don't think it would have been out
yet. Okay, so but it wasn't out yet, but then they added it to the set list after it had come out.
Later. Yeah.
And I was so upset about that.
And that was after mine too. So I was also upset. Because I think mine was because San Diego was first, but I was also California, so I think mine was probably second or third or something.
Yeah. I also think that they tore down the stadium that was in. It's like Qualcomm Stadium or something like that. It was Chargers Stadium. I don't know. I don't do sports, but last I heard it was being torn down.
Rest in peace.
Yeah.
I think Levi Stadium's still up. Maybe it's called something else though. They always rebrand at some point.
I think it is still Levi Stadium.
Slay for them then.
But it was a great experience.
Yeah.
Didn't know it was going to be my last.
Yeah, didn't know it was the last time we'd see them. That's
did not
crazy.
know it was going to be the last time I would ever see One Direction.
Yeah.
Which is very
depressing. Obviously we were in high school, so I don't think we would have had that much control over this, but like now you and I will both when we can go to like as many shows as possible. So it's like if I had known and if I had the means, I would have gone to more than just one, but obviously we didn't know.
Same.
Good
Ugh,
times. Good times. And
if only we were slightly older.
yeah, and slightly more money.
Yeah.
As we said, those shows felt relatively normal aside from Zayn's obvious absence, but still very chaotic and loud, still very fun and formative experiences. And I think that's what made it so weird because it didn't feel like an
Hmm.
ending, but it also like didn't feel fully normal either.
Yeah, we all kind of knew things were changing. We just didn't know what that meant yet. So you just hold on to it and hope it's not the end.
Yeah, and that's it for this. That's the
Yeah.
fallout of the On the Road Again era, the aftermath of Zayn leaving, the tension that followed, and the shift from 5 to 4 that changed the band for good.
Yeah. In the next episode, we're heading into the final chapter, Made in the AM, the last album, and the hiatus that officially marked the end of One Direction as we know it. Sad. Tear,
Sad.
sad.
So make sure you're subscribed. And if you love this episode, like, rate, and follow the show wherever you listen. And don't forget to find us on Instagram at What Makes You Fangirl and TikTok at WMYF Podcast for clips, updates, and bonus content.
And while you're there, tell us what you thought of the Zouis fight when it unfolded, or your favorite OTRA memory, or just what's making you fangirl this week. We want to hear it.
And remember, life's too short not to freak out over the things you love. It's totally okay to fangirl a little too much.
Bye.
Bye. Slay.
Okie dokie.